the dog suddenly sensed that his owner's life was slipping away. He barked at his owner without stopping and kept spinning in circles, urging him to stay. But his owner still did not understand. He said his goodbye to the dog and left for work. The man's name was Parker. He was a college music professor. One evening on his way home from work, a small dog blocked his path. Parker couldn't bear to leave him on the street, so he quietly brought him home and hid him in the storage room because his wife greatly disliked animals that shed. What he didn't realize was that the trouble had only just begun. The little one didn't stay put for long. He pushed open the door, climbed the stairs, and wandered easily into Parker's bedroom. When he licked a foot, Parker's wife screamed in fright. Horrified, she immediately demanded that her husband get rid of the dog. But for that night, the dog would have to sleep in the storage room. The next day, Parker brought the dog to the animal shelter, but the place was overflowing with dogs. The staff said they could keep him for 2 weeks at most. If no one claimed or adopted him within that time, they would have no choice but to put him down. With no other option, Parker put up adoption flyers and asked every friend in town if anyone could take the dog in. But every answer was no. With the time to get to work drawing near, Parker had no choice but to bring the dog to school with him. A Japanese colleague recognized him as an Akita. On the dog's tag was a Chinese character, the number 8, a symbol of good fortune. Parker named him Hachi. Back home, Parker lay on the floor playing with the dog while doing his best to persuade his wife to let them keep Hachi, but his wife refused firmly. Before long, night fell, and the temperature dropped sharply. Hachi shivered in the cold of the small outbuilding, but it wasn't long before Parker slipped quietly out to the kennel and carried him inside. Every time he put Hachi down, though, the dog would bark as if begging him to stay. So Parker turned on the television and watched a baseball game with Hachi, sharing a bucket of popcorn between them. Man and dog were perfectly at ease. Parker drifted off to sleep, comfortable and content. The next morning, Parker tried to get Hachi to play fetch, but Hachi wouldn't cooperate at all. Parker was the one who became fascinated. He even got down on the ground to show Hachi what to do. Just then, the phone inside rang. Someone was calling about adopting Hachi. Parker's wife was delighted that the dog might finally be going. Parker was just about to write down the caller's number when he looked up and saw what was happening outside. The two of them were playing happily together with the dog. Hachi was clearly already part of the family.
Hello? The dog's already been taken.
And so Hachi stayed. Days passed, one after another. Before long, Hachi had grown several times his original size. With him around, Parker's life took on a new warmth and playfulness. Hachi wanted to be by Parker's side every moment of every day, but that was clearly impossible. So the hours Parker spent at work each day became the hardest hours for Hachi to bear. But Hachi was not one to be defeated so easily. He turned and found a patch of soft earth and quickly dug a tunnel through it. He escaped. Hachi followed the scent all the way to the train station. Parker was both startled and delighted to see him there. But no matter what he said, Hachi would not leave. With no other choice, Parker walked him home himself, filled in the hole with a shovel, told his wife to keep a close eye on the dog, and headed back to work. In Hachi's eyes, a day without Parker was bound to be a dull one. And so, the long wait stretched on until evening. Then, in the distance, came the sound of a train whistle. Hachi seemed to understand. In one bound, he cleared the yard and ran the whole way to the station. Seeing that Parker hadn't arrived yet, he sat patiently on the flower bed across the way. When Parker came out among the stream of commuters, Hachi could no longer contain his excitement and leapt toward him. Parker was overjoyed. Even the station attendant and the friend who sold hot dogs nearby marveled at the sight. The next day, Parker still didn't want Hachi following him to the station, but when he saw the look of longing and reluctance in Hachi's eyes, he gave up his resolve. Parker and Hachi walked together, talking and playing all the way. When they reached the station, Hachi obediently turned home at Parker's command, and when Parker came off work, Hachi was already sitting on the flower bed waiting. From then on, through frost and snow, scorching sun and pouring rain, Hachi always appeared at the platform on time. Over the long years, waiting for Parker became the happiest part of Hachi's day. It also made him a familiar face to nearly everyone in town. Hachi witnessed every change this family went through. Over time, he had become an indispensable member of Parker's household. Even when his daughter married and the family took a wedding portrait, Parker brought Hachi along. Their fates seemed to have been bound together from that day on. Then one morning, as Parker was leaving for work, Hachi behaved strangely. Instead of following, he barked at Parker and spun in circles, urging him to stay. Parker soothed him gently, but Hachi still refused to move from the spot. With no time to spare, Parker had to go alone. At that moment, Hachi picked up the tennis ball he had never once played with and ran after him. Parker, for his part, kept glancing back as he walked. Just as he was about to enter the station, Hachi caught up with him in time and for the very first time played a game of fetch with Parker. Parker showed him off proudly to the people around him, but what he didn't know was that this was the only way Hachi had found to try to stop him from leaving. Just then, the whistle sounded for the departing train. Parker had to go. Even as Hachi barked again and again, he could not stop Parker from entering the station. Hachi could only watch helplessly as the train pulled away. In the classroom, Parker taught his lesson while turning the tennis ball over in his hands with a smile. But as the class went on, he began to feel unwell and he collapsed. On the other side of town, Hachi went on waiting. It was not until late that night that Parker's son-in-law Michael came to bring him home. Through the worn gaps in the storage room wall, Hachi could feel that the house was filled with grief. The next morning, Parker did not appear. Instead, his wife came to Hachi's side and rubbed him the way her husband used to. Then the whole family went out to hold Parker's funeral, but Hachi made his way to the familiar flower bed. People came and went before him, but the one he was waiting for was not among them. Afterward, Parker's wife moved away from that place of sorrow, and Hachi was taken in by their daughter Andy's family. But in this new home, Hachi was not happy. He lay on the floor listlessly, and the light had gone from his eyes. Then one day, as Michael opened the door and stepped inside, Hachi seized the moment and bolted out. He crossed unfamiliar streets and made his way through snow-covered woods until at last he found a set of railway tracks that matched something in his memory, the tracks he and Parker used to walk along together. After a long while, darkness began to fall. Hachi lay down beneath an abandoned train car to rest and set out again at dawn to find his way home. When he rounded the corner of the street and reached the yard where he used to live, he found that everything had changed. Hachi understood then that he no longer had a home. He turned and ran, made his way to the flower bed in front of the station, sat down, and waited quietly. Those nearby who had known Parker were puzzled by the sight. Before long, Andy came looking for him too. With gentle persuasion, Hachi reluctantly followed him back. But back at home, he lay on the floor, just as downcast as before, and refused to eat. Then, from somewhere in the distance, came the sound of a train whistle. Out of habit, Hachi rushed to the door. It was the signal he had always answered when it was time to go meet Parker. Andy understood what it meant. He spoke to Hachi quietly and earnestly.
You know we love you, Hachi. We want you to stay here with us. But if you have to go, that's okay too.
Then he opened the gate. Hachi licked Andy's hand in gratitude, and without a single backward glance, set off on his vigil. From then on, through wind and rain, Hachi always appeared at the station on time to wait. Those who passed through had long since grown used to the sight. Until one day, a reporter wrote about Hachi's vigil, and it stirred a wave of feeling across the country. Many kind-hearted people sent donations for his food, and the station attendant became the keeper of this little fund, buying him something to eat every day. And so, Hachi waited, day after day, year after year. The leaves on the trees by the flower bed fell and grew back, turned green, then yellow. Time in his heart seemed forever stopped on the day Parker left. He waited endlessly within that single day. The turning of the seasons seemed to have nothing to do with him. Yet time passed through his body without mercy, taking his strength with it, leaving only a spirit that never changed. Steadfast, unmoving, 10 years slipped by in a blink. One day, Parker's wife passed the station. After visiting her husband's grave, when she saw the familiar figure by the flower bed, her eyes filled with tears. She never could have imagined that Hachi had been waiting for her husband for a full 10 years. With tears on her face, she gathered Hachi into her arms.
If it's all right, can I wait with you for the next train? Yeah. Thanks.
The vendor nearby, seeing this, could not hold back tears either. Late that night, the sound of a distant train whistle roused Hachi from his sleep. He knew that moment was coming, yet he rose without hesitation and went to the flower bed to lie down. His clouded eyes still rested on that gate. In the final moments of his life, Hachi seemed to return to the place where he and Parker had first met. Then he and Parker were running along the riverbank, playing at the station, every moment vivid and clear. Everything seemed as though it had never changed. The soul outlasts the body, and love carries Hachi to where Parker waits in another place, where they will go on writing the story they left unfinished, because they taught us the meaning of loyalty, and that is to never forget the one you love.